Okay, we're live on both.
All right.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. Okay.
Let me do the intro.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the Lunch Bunch at the Spiritual Neighborhood. The Spiritual Neighborhood is a grassroots community project of the Council of Families for Children, dedicated to the quality of life for the body, mind, and spirit for the integration of a healthy, happy human. Today, we have a mess because I messed up the schedule. I'll own it. I'll take responsibility. We had a guest scheduled, and because I failed to read my emails, we had to change schedules and time. So we don't have our guest speaker today. You have us. Beautiful, cute things that we are.
Aww.
Yes. So, how did y'all love that storm last night?
It was quite interesting, wasn't it? It was intense, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it was still intense. We had some strong wind and a lot of rain. So my husband put all the buckets out. We've got like I don't know how many 10 big 5-gallon buckets he puts under his awning of his garage and catches the rain, and that's what he uses to water the plants with. They're all full. They're overflowing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we got plenty of that, but it goes fast in the summertime, though.
Well, I did not dance naked in the rain, but I was in the rain and I was naked because I don't sleep in anything. And I went out and
It would have
looked.
been okay. It was midnight. It was dark. Nobody probably would have paid attention. And most everybody was asleep anyway.
Okay, that hurts my feelings, Gail, because if I'm naked, I want people to pay attention. They're good. You know, good. I may be old, but I'm not dead. You know, the girls may hang lower, but they got a lot of life in them still.
Visual.
Here's the visual. No. So
I can just feel my eyes wanting to close. I can just feel them closing.
You were talking about how it was swirling over your house last night, Elizabeth.
yeah.
Yeah, last night was rather intense, and there was a lot of noise. It was a constant thunder, constant lightning. I mean, it just went on and on and on. And I remember, like we were talking about earlier, I kept hearing something that and it does sound very loud. It was coming over the house, and I went to the app for the Texas Storm Chasers, which I really like, and they had a little thing that you could click on, and it would show wind speed, or if there was rotation or lightning, and it would show you, okay, there's a bunch of hail happening at this point or whatever. And right over the top of the house, there was circulation. And it had that symbol right there. And it was talking about the wind speeds were up to 70 miles per hour.
Wow.
It said possible tornado. But then it was talking about the meso winds, where it was just unbelievable winds coming from above, coming down. That was wild. I mean, that was wild. So when it went over, I mean, you could hear that sound go over. And like I was saying earlier, I started to go outside. The last time was the first time in a long time that I decided that maybe I should put street clothes on just to be on the safe side, because my office, the windows of the house mainly face west.
Oh.
And that's the direction that it was coming from. And,
Yeah.
that would just right on in here. So, but then it started to calm down and everything was, getting better. But that thunder and lightning went on for hours, it seemed like. Hours it went on. So.
Well, I wondered if that was a tornado over your house.
Turned everything off.
Yeah, that would be scary to know that was a tornado over your house. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just said rotation. It went on down further. It was headed like towards Garland. But I love that. I love the idea that you can actually go and look online and see the different dynamics of the storm. In one particular, I forgot now where it was, but the winds were so strong that it was causing the radar to do really bizarre things. And you could see that the radar was having trouble catching up with it. But when this guy was talking about hurricane force winds, it's like, oh my God. So I just just go on over. Y'all just go on over. Don't hurt anything or anybody. It just needs to go on.
Is
And it
that
did.
is that app on your phone? Is that an app for the phone that you were on?
Yeah, you can have it's on the phone, and you can also go to the website. It's the Texas Storm Chasers, which I love. I mean, apparently this guy's got a gazillion screens and monitors and all kinds of things that are up to date that you can actually. It's in real time. You know.
I would. Your Gail wants to do all the
And
ghost
he's a storm
investigations. I would rather chase storms. I think that would be exhilarating. I would love that.
That I wanted to do that. I've actually gone on a couple, but I would really like to be part of one of those where you actually. Last night would have been great. I would have loved to have been out there and watching the build up in the clouds and taking pictures and being able to watch that. A friend of mine and I, we've lived in I've lived in Texas since '69, and I have not seen one tornado. So I go out of the state. What do I see? I see my first tornado.
You're kidding.
It's like I've not seen one here.
I've seen
I
3.
don't have to do any damage.
We've had a couple in this area.
I've seen 3 in this area, and the last one that was really bad that went through Garland, it was really weird. It went within a half a mile of my house and within a half a mile of my other house that my son lives in. But it missed us entirely.
Wow.
But I was like, oh my gosh! But it was like the way it hopped. You're like, okay, how did it make that decision? Because things would be totally flattened, and then the other places would be just right next to it, perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's what it did here. When it came through here a couple of years
But the
ago.
winds were strong enough, even though we didn't have much damage to the roof, it cracked 3 beams in my attic. And we had to have the whole roof replaced a couple months ago because of that. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, when that hailstorm came through that time and did so much damage, it messed up the roof and it knocked down a bunch of limbs and stuff. But there were a lot of people. You could just almost track it from West Plano across to East Plano. And the houses that were built during the time where they had skylights, skylights was such a big deal. It almost like attacked every house that had a skylight. You could see the blue tops on the roof the next day where people were having to go up there and putting, protective covering over that because it shattered the actual skylight itself. So, and those were some really big chunks. It fit in the palm of my hand.
Wow.
And I said then, I put it out there on Facebook, and it showed, I think, last week or a couple weeks ago, and I've totally forgotten all about that, but that hail was huge, and it was the loudest thing I've ever heard.
I love storms. The only time I've ever really been afraid, though, was I was caught out on the highway with a tornado. And it's when the kids were little, and we were coming back from the lake, and I'm like, oh my God, what do we do? Because it was right behind us.
Yeah.
So we did pull in under one of the bridges over the highway, which I'm not sure that was smart, but it seemed like the practical thing to do. We did stay in the car, and the tornado jumped the highway and then went another direction, thank God. But it got probably within a quarter of a mile of us. And that was scary. But as a rule, I love storms. I do. So.
I do too. I have a great appreciation for them, and I know they are extremely powerful, and there's so many of the dimensions that I am not aware of. There's so many different things that I don't know. But I am fascinated in the power and the energy that Mother Nature can create and then expand and then explode and then it gets released. So last night was really intense, but I was really kind of surprised that there wasn't more damage done due to the wind categories. From what I was seeing on the numbers, I was really, really surprised. But
I don't think they came down low enough, though. I think the wind stayed up higher than normal because you could see like the really, because we have really big trees in our neighborhood, and you could see the top of the trees just going nuts, but lower down, we didn't really feel a lot of wind. And my husband is usually the really metaphysical one, and I'm the real logical, practical one. And I was like, oh my gosh, you think this is a sign that the world is resetting yourself? And he goes, oh, get real, it's just a storm.
Well, it would be nice. to think that everything's getting reset. I think really we are. Either that, or they're just fattening us up so when the aliens come, that we won't just be an entree.
I'm the other white meat. Remember, this is why I don't go in the ocean, because sharks would like me, aliens would love me. I'm the other white meat, So yeah, I'm doing my best. I've actually lost weight during the quarantine, so I'm doing my best to stay off that appetizer tray. I don't go to the beach.
I'm kind of maybe a double entree.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Appetizer.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that you're the
Might be an
delicious,
appetizer.
savory, succulent, juicy, delicious.
Well.
Just leave it to Deborah. Just leave it to Deborah.
In case you can't.
I wore this especially for you.
Oh my God. Bank robber with glitz. I love
I
it.
was going to be a bandit.
Yeah. You know that back in the 1800s, Elizabeth and I used to run a brothel and a bar.
Well, I think my mom was involved in that. I don't think I was. I think she was the one who would have done.
Oh yeah,
She would have done it.
you sat behind the bar with the gun. You were like the sergeant at arms.
I would have been the school teacher. I probably would have been the one going, y'all are going to hell.
And
Hey, I did a past life with Sharon Cody, and she took me back to a house in Waxahachie that I ran a brothel in.
hey, I want to run a brothel. I love
No,
sex.
I think Gal was the one that had the gun behind the bar.
I love sex. I'll run a brothel.
She could.
I'd be good at it.
You know what was interesting about it is she said that my husband I'm married to now was my boyfriend then.
Well, you need to get out of that rut and try something new.
Well, hey, I was having an affair with him because he was a married man.
I mean, my God, I've been married 5 times in this
Okay,
lifetime.
Okay, yeah, now I'll cut you some slack on that.
All right, but
If
see,
you're having an affair
yeah.
in your past life.
Yes.
So you finally got the man. You finally got him.
I finally got him and he's mine, and now I don't know what to do with him. He's a good man. We've been married 27 years, so
Well,
that's
nice.
interesting to.
I like variety. I've been married 5 times. I like variety.
Well, Jim's my third. 3 is the number for me. 3s are my number. So, yeah.
Well, here's my stick on that, okay? I've been married 5 times. First one doesn't count because I was right out of high school. Who knows what the hell they're doing right out of high school? The second one died and I was acquitted. I didn't go to jail. Okay, I have a warped sense of
Did you
humor.
hear that, Elizabeth?
Yeah,
Can we believe that?
she does.
Yeah,
She
I
does. Third one was gay, and I don't care what he said in the court records. He really did say that I turned him gay. I did not. Then later he came back. What are you doing?
I'm trying to turn this off. Go ahead.
Okay. So then later he came back and said that I ran him out of the state of Texas. And that's why he moved to Florida and lived with the man, because I ran him out of Texas. Okay. The fourth one had a mental illness and was crazy. And the thing about him that really hacked me off is he was cheating on me. And the way he was cheating on me is that he would tell women stories that things I had done like he had done them. So I was dating these women, not him. Let that sink in for a minute.
Oh.
Okay? He was using my life to impress these women so they would go out with him. He told them he was a private investigator. He told them he was a bounty hunter. He told them that he had done this and he had done that. Well, those were all the things I had done. That made me madder than cheating. You know? And then Scott and I have been together 23 years. He's a sweetheart. So, you know, I finally calmed down. Kind of. A little bit. Maybe.
Well, y'all went and did all the marriages.
Have you never been married?
The rest of us went.
You've never been married?
Close? Have you ever been close to getting married? No?
Yeah.
Close? but not.
I have a lot of friends that have
Yeah,
never been
well,
married.
sometimes sometimes knowing that it's really just not the right thing or it's not the right idea, or just to get married just for the hell of getting married, or just so people won't think you're weird. When I was growing up, that was a weird
Weird
thing for
thing.
women not to be married or whatever. But I also chose not to have children too. So my life has been just, being able to experience what I need to experience. There are times when I do miss not having a connection to a child, especially when my mom was here. I could have used the help. I mean, really, that would have been wonderful. But I, 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 that biological clock would tick, and I'd go see my brother and the kids, and all of a sudden that clock would stop. That biological clock just went. Okay, well, maybe not.
It went ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, it was, that like on the cartoons that it goes cuckoo, cuckoo. Oh, you need to go home. This is wrong.
Well, I never wanted to be married, but I wanted
Right.
children. I wanted children, but I didn't want to be
I
married.
didn't want children either. Well, I just looked at it from the point of view of I looked at it differently. I believe having children is very, very sacred, and I thought I can't see a child having a child. I could not see that. I could not wrap my mind around that. And I certainly didn't want to bring somebody into this world that I felt like I was not capable of. Of course, my mom would have helped and everything would have probably worked out. But my thought is you need to recognize that once you're a parent for life.
Yes, you
This
are.
is not just to, till they get 18. This is a lifetime commitment. And you have a responsibility to that child for certain things. Now, after a certain age, yeah, they need to be responsible and they need to do their own things, and that's true. But your love for them or your concern for them or your care for children, that never goes. That never goes away. That was my thought and feelings and the way I believed it. But again, then I was in the group of I was in high school in the 70s, and I didn't want to bring my child up to go to war.
Yep.
I didn't want to send my child
Yep.
to go and do those kinds of things either. I did not want that kind of relationship being brought into this world. And I couldn't guarantee that by the time I was in my 30s and 40s, we would not be. And of course, we were. It's just perpetuated. It's kept on. But I just feel having a child is sacred. I just feel like having children is a very sacred situation, institution, whatever it is that you want to call it. But children deserve your full attention until the end of your life, because you have a responsibility to these beings, these creatures in some ways, that come through. But I was just too naive on so many things. There were so many things I just thought I would fail at, and I felt like I had a lot of baggage. And actually I did have quite a bit of baggage. So it was probably better that I did not. But I don't regret anything at all, except for those moments. Now would have been a good time to have had some children to, kind of fall back on and say, your mother's starving over here, would you?
Yeah. Who's going to take care of this old woman? Yeah. I think that was very wise of
Trim
you.
my tree?
No, I think that was
Please
very.
go out there and trim that freaking tree.
And don't forget the bush.
No, Jesus, I cannot believe I started that. I did. My bad.
You set yourself up, didn't you?
She did. She just feeds me those lines.
I started it.
Just feeds them. But that, Elizabeth, I just think that's really wise of you, because I had the same attitude about children, but I didn't have the same attitude about marriage, which is really where I kind of got off track, because after I had a child, I went, oh shit. they really do deserve two people in their lives. They do deserve two parents, because there's two reasons that it takes male, female to make this body. So I spent a long period of time trying to find a father for the children that I had, and just screwed it up royally a couple of times. And then lo and behold, Scott comes along, and it's like, okay, it took me a while, I got it right. But in the meantime, the damage had been done on so many levels with, the marriages and being a single mom, because I was a single mom for part of that time as well, and stuff like that. So I wish I'd have been that wise. I'm not sure I would have done anything differently, but maybe I would have been more confident about some of my decisions and not made some of them.
Like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have changed. If I had had the right, partner, it might have been different. I might have been convinced that, maybe we should, or those kinds of things. But I had experienced, several marriages just with my mom. And in my life, I just didn't believe in the paper, marriage in the paper. Really? I didn't see it. And I didn't feel that way. I think you love who you need to love. And, the paper, just to say that you're married, that almost makes it sound like, okay, I'm claiming you in your mind. And that's not how I feel. I don't feel that it takes a piece of paper. If you love somebody, you love somebody, and you're connected from the heart. And I had seen really bad relationships. I've seen, my mom was a victim of abuse, physical and mental. She was a widow at a very early age and had 2 children. My brother had a horrible experience with him growing up because of his skin allergies and the sleepless nights and days of just trying to get him to where he would not be in pain, or just be able to sleep. It's like having a constant sunburn all over your body.
Oh my.
24/7. It was awful. So those kinds of experiences that I had, obviously make me who I am today. I have a much greater appreciation for people who have skin allergies and those kinds of things, and it doesn't scare me or frighten me like it does, like other people. But the idea of having a relationship and enjoying that relationship for as long as that relationship lasts, that I see that. It doesn't mean I don't love that person later on. It's just sometimes I think there are seasons for people, and I think that's in relationships as well. Sometimes it's just the winter, or sometimes it's just the spring or the summer. And then sometimes it's a lifetime commitment. But I do not at present have anyone in my life that I have known since childhood that I still talk to, except for my, cousins or something like that, or my immediate family. And then some people have lifetime friends. Well, that didn't happen in my case. We moved around a lot when I was younger. But once we moved to Texas, we felt like we were here to stay. This is where we were going to put down roots, and this is where we felt the education was good and strong, and businesses was good. And of course, I love Texas. I like the older Texans in a way, though, because they are the ones who embraced everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We'll feed you, we'll take care of you. You're here now, you're home. And I really respect that kind of Texas attitude. And so everything's big and wonderful and great. And, I love that attitude. Everything can be, and love can be big and great and wonderful as well. But I don't have a lot of patience for narrow-mindedness, and I don't have a lot of patience for bigotry, and I don't have a lot of patience for discriminations and things along those lines, especially for women, But I think it's a responsibility that we treat each other kind and fairly. And relationships are important, and it's not just temporary. Again, it's a commitment that you're looking at it as a lifetime commitment, not just for the weekend or for a couple of months. But I just saw marriage differently. I thought, wow, why get married? Why not just enjoy what we have and just, go through this? And then if we part, then we part. not easy, obviously, and I came close. There were some serious moments, but sometimes I could see past what was happening here and on down into the future, and it was like, this is not going to last. And so for me, it was like, and I know this sounds kind of selfish, but why should I put my energy into something that's not going to last?
Right.
Why should I do that?
Right. I think a lot of
Why not
people
go
would
on
agree
and
with
find the
that.
next relationship.
I think
Well, every relationship
Yeah.
has a lesson. We learn something from every relationship. And so,
Yeah. And it's like, well, okay. And it worked out well. I'm not unhappy. Most of the people that I've had relationships with, I still, can speak to. One of the guys that I used to date in high school, I mean, I do every once in a while, I'll see him online and say something to him, like, or wish him a happy birthday or something like that. But it's amazing how we decide what we're going to do. But marriage would just, I'm not going to say I won't, because as soon as I say I won't do something, I mean, the proverbial universe says, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's show you this.
Yeah. Who are you kidding?
So I'm not going to say that. I will not say that because, that's a lesson I learned early. Never say never because you never know.
exactly.
And that's not, but right now, I'm not unhappy. Right now, it would have been better. I think it might have been easier had I had someone here at the house as a relationship. I am concerned about single people who are staying at home or feeling isolated. That does concern me. I'm doing a lot of work at night online, speaking with people and talking to them and how are you and what's going on and what are you doing and those kinds of things. And I'm having, virtual lunches with people. Okay, let's plan on having lunch. I'll meet you at 1 o'clock online. We'll, discuss what's going on. I'll do those kinds of things. So I'm really busier now than I was before the lockdown because there are so many people that just need to talk, but they're getting, they're trying to make peace with themselves, and that's not an easy job. That's just like one of those, like, whoa, and we all have that.
Well, even the relationships that we have, they take more time now to making the effort to connect, like with the grandchildren and my children, and I literally have no free time. And I don't know what the heck I'm doing half the time. This is turning into a full-time job, just doing this right here,
I just said that last night. I said, somebody said, well, when can I set up an appointment? I said, it's going to have to be at night. I go, night? Well, yeah, I've got all this to do during the day.
Yeah.
It's not when, when the camera goes off, I still have production.
Yeah.
You guys still have things to do. You've got to, the rest of your life, what you didn't do this morning, you've got to make up with now.
Well, it takes me about.
It was like, look, I got to get out of here. I've got to make some, I've got a couple appointments outside the house. I've got to get there.
Well, it takes me 45 minutes just to set everything up. Just to set everything up, it takes 45 minutes just so to record. And then when you send the video, then I got to upload that to YouTube. And sometimes YouTube is not my friend.
Oh, yeah.
They're mean.
Well, yesterday I was going through some of the different things with Zoom, and what I found out was, when we were having some issues with Zoom, was that it was not playing well with Firefox. And it actually popped up on my screen. Thank you, whomever showed that up to me. And it said, if you'll click on this, we can help you stabilize your Zoom app. And do you know, since I've done that, what I'm looking at right now is almost crystal clear.
Well, I feel silly.
I mean, it is almost crystal clear. And I thought, man, I wish we'd have had that yesterday. Because from my point of view, it's just breaking up and everybody was like the stutter.
Right. Right. Well, I feel silly.
People are aware of what we do.
Because I just realized you can save the link like you do any other link to log into the room. Instead of, I've been clicking and putting the password and da-da-da-da, and then it wouldn't go in and have to do it again. I just saved the link this morning, and you just click on the link, and boom, there you go. I'm like, gosh. It only took me a month to figure that out. Duh.
That's just it. That's what we were telling or talking to people about when we were talking about our Tuesdays. Today was just different only because of the situation of not having the guest here. But on Tuesdays, we're going to try different things or, go live from Zoom to Facebook and try all the different things. I was just trying something out here and I realized, but that's not going to work. Obviously, we're not going to try that. So it's like, well, okay, we're going to let that go. But that's what you do. You get online without a guest and you just play around with this stuff and you throw things out to people and go, hey, this works. Why don't you try it? I'm watching Ellen DeGeneres on some of her stuff and she's doing the same thing we are.
They are. They're having a lot of the same difficulties.
Same thing we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's my pet peeve, though.
In her house, she's got people behind them at the door.
Yeah.
In the window. Sliding glass door, and they're doing that. But I'm thinking, we're doing the same thing. There's no difference here. I just wish we had, like a well-known major, guest come on. Like, wow, yeah, let's talk to them.
Well, you know what?
My husband always says the answer's always no until you ask, and you might get a yes. So
that's right. Okay.
Who do you want to have?
That's right. So
you got me. What else do you want?
Who would I like to have on the show? Oh my God, who would I like to have on the show?
Yeah, who do you want on the show?
Well, I would like to have Ellen DeGeneres on the show because I just love her humor. And I know she can get a little dark sometimes, but I think she's a really good person. I do like her sense of humor, though, and I like what she does for people. I would love to have Oprah on the show and talk to her and find out what it's like after Oprah.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? And I know she has owned, and I know she's got all these productions. Oh my God, I think there's almost too many people to name.
You know who I'd love to have on the show?
I think he can contribute.
I would love to have someone who can channel Sam Kinison. I miss Sam Kinison's humor.
Oh my God.
Oh
my God, y'all have to turn the sound down. Oh man. I wonder if he still screams.
I don't know, but I adored him. He used to be a preacher. He used to be a Pentecostal preacher that went into that dark, awful comedy.
Yes, that's right.
I loved him, though. Loved him. I would love to have someone that could channel Sam Kinison for us.
I would like him, and I'd also like Robin Williams.
Yeah.
I'd love to have somebody channel Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Just let us know, just let us know that everything is working out. Like I said, I think all of us have talked about this, when someone famous passes and it bothers us, and that's what we kind of know they're part of our soul family, and it's really disturbing.
You know who I feel connected to is John Lennon.
Really?
Oh yeah, his energy
is
amazing, and Elvis.
Elvis touched so many people. Maybe I could get Elvis's brother on here. I know David Stanley casually through a networking group, and he's always working on projects. Maybe I could get him to come on sometime. I'll ask him. Who knows? All he can do is say no. So.
Well, what about good deed doers? Do you know any good deed doers?
No, everybody knows are buttholes. They're not doing anything nice for anybody.
We're talking to the people watching out there knows a good deed doer.
No, they're
deed doers. I'm like, I know they're out there. We see them. We need people to nominate them. Good deed doers don't just go, hey, I'm a good deed doer.
You know what? The bottom line is, we just want people to start talking to us. I want more interaction from the people that watch us. I know they're watching us because they'll make a few little comments or they'll send a little message. I want y'all to start interacting more. Do we need to open up the room and let y'all in? What do we need to do to get y'all commenting and emailing? And because I really want to know what y'all think. Sometimes.
Let's go back and look at the history and let's see who's a regular viewer that comments and watches and supports us, and invite him in to talk.
Well, I know James Martinez watches us a lot. Hi, James, if you're out there today. I know that my friend Lori's on there a lot, and she lives in Florida. You'd love her, gal. She's by the beach. So, yeah, she's
I would love to do that.
And
Candy Molina watches us regularly, so hi Candy, thank you so much.
hey, you know what?
Luann Morris watches us as well. Yes, thank you, Luann.
A contest. Who later on, after we've been on for a while, we'll have a contest, and we'll have the 3 people that watch us the most, and have them on as guests.
We could do that.
I know, it'd be fun. It'd be fun. You know, okay, you were talking about Ellen
I think
DeGeneres.
that'd be fun.
You were talking about Ellen a while ago. You know what the favorite part of her show that I've ever loved? She had a woman that she used to call in Austin, Texas, the drunk lady, the old drunk lady.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I drinks a bit, but I loves Jesus. I love that woman.
That's the best.
Yeah.
I wish we could find her.
Yeah, she was awesome. It really was.
We need someone like that we can call and talk to. Are we done?
Oh wow, it's already 12:50.
I know.
Wow, how the time flies.
I know.
You're kidding. Is it really that time?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Look at the clock. Mine says 12:50.
I don't have a clock to look at. Oh,
Here.
it is.
It is.
It
Well,
is. Fun flies when you're doing time.
Well, so before we leave though, Deborah, talk about what we were talking about before we went live about we're searching for a grant writer.
Okay, so look, people, we are doing this just for our own health, but we're also doing it for a reason. We really are trying to build a community of healers and people that do good things for the community. We really are a true nonprofit. This is the Council of Families for Children. It's been around for 15 years. It's a 501c3, okay? And if you know me, you know I've been running this thing all a long time out of my own pocket, stuff like that. But what we're wanting to do is that this is a community project. It doesn't really take a lot of money to run, but what we're doing is I have come across some other projects out there that we're interested in bringing in to our company or our corporation. And to do that, we want to help fund them. To do that, we need a grant writer or someone that can help us solicit donations. And the other thing is that if you work for a company, most big companies have donation plans where you can submit names and stuff like that. So if you're familiar with how to help nonprofits, we would love to talk to you. No, we don't have any money. No, you can't have a salary right now, but we can incorporate that into a funding plan and pay you later. We want everybody that does something to get paid. But right now we're looking at a program that's feeding the elderly that we'd like to help finance. And so that would be awesome. We're looking at opening up our doors either virtually or physically when we come out of this to having classes and supporting people that teach classes and certifying through the council the classes so that you can, the example I have is, I'm not going to use a name, but people have paid individuals to get certifications and then that person dies or they change their mind or they go to a different route. Well, those certifications are worthless. If you're certified through a company, they're not worthless no matter what's going on. So we have a lot of things that we could do that would really impact all of you. But right now, we need someone to help us build that impact by helping us to find the resources because some of you just need money. We're not asking for this money for ourselves. We are looking for money to support programs out there that need funding that don't have a home base. So if you have any ideas for fundraising, grant writing, donations, I have it right here. Wait a minute. I haven't put it up all day.
There's something else too. Not only that, there are some companies that if their employees make a donation, they will match it.
They will match it, you know? Or you can say, I'm going to go and do so many volunteer hours and then we got a really nice grant several years in a row of $5,000 from a banking facility because of one of their employees that made that suggestion. So this is when we had our big building and we needed the money to pay the deadgum rent. What was I thinking back then? But anyway, you can talk to me, you can talk to Elizabeth, you can talk to Gail. We all have wonderful ideas and things to go, but this food project is really important to me. you know, because it's like Elizabeth said, if people are living alone or if they're even living in semi-retirement homes and stuff, they don't have people that always check on them on a regular basis, and getting them fed properly
right.
is huge. And nutrition, we all know this.
Absolutely.
We all know nutrition is the difference between life and death. It just is, period. You know?
That's right.
So,
And that's also for people after the lockdown or stay home and stay safe is over. These people will still need food. This is not just okay, let's do it during this point in time. That's one of the things that really bothered me when there were, you know, people are so quick to help so many at one instance, and then it's not on in front, and they stop. Just like, you know, elderly people, or what I consider elderly, are people who are not able to physically get out or actually able to cook for themselves or things along those lines. So we know a lot of plans have been cut, and because of that, you know, the idea that somebody would die alone, somebody would have to forego food because they have to have their meds, you know, that to me, that is just unacceptable in this particular country. So if we could do something to help other people, assist other people, then I'm all for that, because I do believe that in children, you know, we've got to protect those two great commodities, our future and our history. You know, history can repeat itself, and let's get as much from those wisdom holders as we can.
well, and I
I'll get
have,
off my soapbox now.
no, well, I have a dream, and I've had this dream for 10 years, and my dream is to have a piece of property that we put tiny homes on that are for women that have children that are trying to get back on their feet. We're taking homeless women and children, but it will be self-sustaining on many levels. And
Yes.
this is what it looks like. They'd have their own private gardens, but we'd have a community garden. We'd have a community center. We'd have a classroom. We would bring in other nonprofits and organizations to teach these women skills, to help them build their resumes, give them clothing for job interviews. But they would be able to have their own private little homes with them and their children intact. We would also have part of the garden would have a sustaining pond that would feed the garden. You know, if you've seen these homes in Arizona where they have the fish and the fish feed the garden feed, and they recycle the water, we would have all of that.
It perpetuates itself. It is a constant life cycle.
But what makes this an overall big picture for that would satisfy most anyone is that we would also have a dog shelter. And the dog shelter would serve two purposes. Of course, it would shelter the rescue dogs. And there are people that will give to animals that won't give to people, and vice versa. So
That's right. That's true.
But we would also take
They
these.
like animals better.
Yes, we will also take these dogs and we would train them as support animals. And we would get the children involved in that process as well to help them heal. Because if you have been homeless, and I have been homeless with a small child.
Me too.
Okay.
No children, but I do know that.
It does a fucking number on your head. I'm just going to say it. Okay.
It does.
There is nothing more about being in a survival mode than that when you have a child to take care of too, especially, and it has its effect on the children as well. And so that would be my dream, to have a piece of acreage, probably about 50 acres, have at least 20 tiny homes on there with the community center, the classroom, office, the animal shelter, self-sustaining garden, that type of thing. And you know, it had to be outside of Dallas proper, but close enough so they could be close to the bus routes, that type of thing. And I would love to see us build that. That's my dream. So.
Well, you know, that's not a far-fetched idea. That I really think that is something that could have the potential to. And I'm not talking about big corporations getting involved to the point where it's a takeover. That's not what I'm looking at.
Now, this is individuals doing this.
I'm looking at it where we're self-sustained.
Yeah, and it can
but
be.
I also think it'd be great for us to learn so many. You know, there's so many teachers out there. I would like to get the elderly involved and say, teach us how do you do this? What crops get along with each other, and how do we rotate this, and what do we do, and literally go through an entire year This is what you do in the fall. This is what you do in the winter. The spring,
Well, and
the
look,
summer.
and
This
look
is
how
the
many
most
things that we
important
brought to
thing.
the table just in this past month of doing things the old-fashioned way, cooking in cast iron skillets, using handmade sanitizer and cleansers, and not using things. I'm doing things the way my grandmother used to do them in a lot of ways, because I knew how.
Well, I went back to the original. Went back to ivory soap because that's what my grandmother used.
I love
ivory. Soap.
ivory. I love
Everything was ivory.
Yeah.
Everything was ivory soap.
I love it. All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox because you're going to make me cry. No,
So tomorrow,
Okay.
tomorrow we have Sarah Bench.
a do-gooder.
She is. She is a do-gooder, and she makes her own jewelry.
Yes.
Or bracelets, and she does offer buy one get one free, and so I have bought one and sent it to somebody, and then got one for myself. But she also does charity where she goes to, like she went to the hospital in Mansfield, and a lot of the proceeds, or all the proceeds, went to support the hospital there.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and so she does things
Good
like
deed
that.
doer.
Yep. And I talked to her the other day about it on the phone, and I said, because she was sending the free bracelet. I said, well, let me pay for the shipping. She said, no. She said, no, I got this. Don't worry about it. It's not about the money. And so for her, it's the passion is to do things for people to give them joy.
Awesome.
Well, see, you know what?
Awesome.
And you just gave me an idea. When we have our facility, we could actually even have a thrift store and a vendor section at the front of the property where people could come and donate things, and we sell them, and we could have little vendor booths as well to help sustain other small businesses and I keep wanting to call it a resort. Not a resort, a facility.
Well, it could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
Could be.
Also, musicians, artisans.
Yes.
Ooh, music festivals.
filmmakers.
Music festivals.
Yes, in our community, we really do have a whole lot more resources out there than we realize.
Okay, so someone just write me a check for $5 million and we'll get this done.
I've got a blueprint for the building.
It would be
All right.
appropriate, yes. Oh, yeah. That would be good. That would be a good time.
Hey, I believe in manifesting.
I guess that's it, right?
Yeah, I'm closing.
We're done for the day.
Thank you for sharing your time and energy with us at the Spiritual Neighborhood Lunch Munch. I know we just rambled around, but sometimes we just need to do that for ourselves. So thank you for sharing that with us. We are a community project of the Council of Families for Children. To contact any of the hosts, Elizabeth Gale or myself, email us at spiritualneighborhood@gmail.com. And don't be shy to ask to be a guest on our show. Until we eat again, happy trails.
Yeah, you go outside. It's beautiful. Step outside and get some of that sun and hug a tree.
Yep, we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, vitamin D.
Yep.
That's vitamin D.
Yep.
Food for the brain.
Oh, Dr.
Y'all
Elizabeth.
stay safe.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Liz.
Y'all.
Yeah.